All right, then let's go ahead and do 3, 2, 1, go.
Alrighty. And we're
Yeah,
off.
it was about 3 seconds of delay.
Okay, not terrible. Alright, this is Fable, everybody. A lot of you probably know this game, but probably not like this. Oh gosh, okay, sorry, we're golden. Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is just the quickest route to get the chocolates for my sister. It's gone through a couple renditions. I mean, most strats in this game have gone through a lot of changes, so this is just what has become the fastest way to do it. This part really is just inconsequential.
What's the world record?
World record is pretty recent. I think it's 1:20:24 now. Oh, guard! Oh, that is me.
Oh boy.
I won't promise anything super close to that, but we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, it's the marathon. It's a marathon. So
Right.
I don't expect greatness. I expect mediocrity at all times.
Well, okay. I'll do my best.
Not from you, just from marathons in general.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. So we got through the first hurdle of the game, which is that I didn't glitch out and get Big Kid Glitch, which is a glitch that screws up all of the game models and character models, not all of them, but a lot of them, and also makes the game prone to crashes, but we didn't get that glitch, so we are good. Now right here I'm going to punch Whisper a couple times, because I'm setting up for a sort of exploit where I skip the training segments of this guild section that normally take like a minute each. And what happens is if I hit friendly units in this little training segment 4 times, I get like sent to like the principal's office basically. And but if I can trigger that sequence while one of those timers is rolling, it cancels the timer. So I'm kind of just preemptively setting that up. The 4 hits. You'll see it come into play later. Yeah, that's true, Adam, but that's pretty rare. Nice. So here, like, basically the best you can do is just try to cleave the beetles down so that you minimize the number of swings you're doing, and that's basically all the optimizing you can do. Otherwise, they move in random patterns. Sometimes you swing in random directions because the targeting in this game is just brilliant. It's brilliant. But that was decent. So we've grown a bit. We're, I guess, a teenager, probably preteen at this point. Still using a stick.
Soyez attentifs.
And this is basically all RNG at this point, where I actually fight Whisper here because the way she behaves, yeah, is pretty random, but that was not a bad fight. Sometimes she'll just block your swings all day long and pretty much kill a run this early on. But that was okay. Now here's where the timer segment and skipping the training will come into play here. My first arrow shot triggers the timer to start, and then the second arrow shot becomes the fourth friendly hit, which cancels the timer, which skips the training segment. Same thing's gonna happen here with the lightning. I'm gonna lightning once to trigger the timer, and then shoot the Guildmaster 4 times. Or miss a shot, because I'm great. And a lot of the little minor details and skips of this game can get pretty dense like that, but I'll do my best to explain them efficiently. And here's the last little segment of the guild training, which is the maze fight, which is also a little bit RNG dependent of where he teleports. But for the most part, it's straightforward. You do melee, you do range, and then you zap him. It's kind of interesting though, because when he teleports, right there, his second teleport there is based on like a timer. So if I can get behind him, for example, in the melee phase and land swings on his back to where he can't block me, I can hit him fast enough to where when he gets to the lightning segment, I can overlap that timer and hit him 7 times before he teleports a second time. And call it the maze skip. It saves probably 5 seconds, as much time as it takes for him to teleport again and for you to reestablish his position and stuff like that. But that's pretty rare. So the first main chunk is done, and we got our first spell, and the movement will completely change from this point on. We now have Assassin Rush. So we're not just going to be rolling now, we're going to be Assassin Rushing and rolling. Beautiful.
Assassin Rush sounds pretty edgy for a dash.
It is, and it's one of the buggiest spells in the entire game.
Well, that's always nice.
There's some pretty cool clips involving it. I won't spoil anything, but if you're familiar with the game and its structure and the way you're intended to play it, you'll probably find some amusement in it. Oh gosh, that was really quiet, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I said I'm familiar with 3/4 of it, I never finished it.
Oh, okay, that's fair. The bulk of the crazy stuff is in that first 3/4 though, so you'll be able to see some cool stuff.
I certainly remember killing these bees.
Yeah. So
I need that over again.
oh man, these wasps are so loud, it's completely drowning you out. Sorry.
It's good, don't even worry about it.
Okay. It's like this game will be really quiet sometimes, and then some enemies are just super obnoxious. So nothing special to that quest really, except that, well, really nothing special at all, honestly. We used to melee her in the first phase, but we charge up a fully charged arrow now because it pushes her to that first health break point. And that kind of helps illustrate how pretty much all bosses in this game work. They work on like health break points where they become invincible, and then you kind of have to wait for some silly arbitrary trigger to continue beating them up. Now what you just saw me do there, which it's really hard for me to talk while I'm doing it, but it's called, we call it buy-selling or buy-sell glitching. If you remember back when this game maybe came out, a lot of people were abusing the money system by, oh, one sec, there's more of it. A lot of menuing. I can't multitask. Alright. People would exploit the gold making in this game like with houses. which is really slow, but you could theoretically make infinite gold with houses, and like buying them and renting them out or something along those lines. Turns out it's a lot easier to buy things in bulk for really cheap, since the store has a lot of them in stock, and sell that same stack that you just bought for a lot, because the store doesn't have any. It's really broken. So if you get big enough stacks of expensive things, you can buy the stack, sell the stack, buy the stack, sell the stack, sell the sack, exactly, and get infinite gold pretty quickly, or just as much as you need. And here comes the first fishing RNG minigame, everyone's favorite fishing game. It's straight trash. It can make or break runs because it's completely random. The difficulty of the little minigame you're gonna get. Technically, you don't need this first one we just fished up, this potion, which is an experience potion that will be sort of relying upon to get all the spells we need. There's only one in the game that you absolutely have to fish up, and it's quite a bit later in the run. So it's not that bad, but it still sucks. You're supposed to steal the sack, dude. Stealing the sack saves 4 minutes in this game. So this section of the game is really where the movement gets introduced. I can't even talk. It's hard because I can't hear myself. I'm gonna... Oh yeah, that's better. It's really easy to assassin rush backwards at enemies because you assassin rush at what you're soft targeting, and the soft targeting range of enemies extends behind you, whereas for friendly units it's just kind of in front of you. So when you're running through a big field of wasps like that, it can be pretty easy for one to sneak up right behind you and make you assassin rush backwards, which obviously saves time. So right here, this is one of the harder quests in the game, especially for new runners. I'm basically trying to get 12 combat multiplier here and not get hit, because if you get hit, you lose all your combat multiplier, or you lose half of it. So I'm lightninging the guards here to keep my combat multiplier from falling at all, and then interweaving that lightning with shooting these bandits down. And the reason I get 12 combat multipliers is because that potion I just fished up, and one that I also got in Bowerstone, they scale with your combat multiplier. So I just popped them at 12 combat multiplier. They each gave me 12,000 experience, which is absolutely solid for this point in the game. And then we shoot Whisper because she's awful. You've already salted your sack? Wait. Oh, stelled your sack. Nice, dude. I'd say you're set then. But, you know, anything could happen. Alright, so now, instead of warping straight back to the guild, we do a little bit of map optimization, where normally we would... Our next quest objective basically is in the Greatwood Cullis Gate, which is down this road. So if we warped back to the guild and then had to go back here, we'd have to run through all the maps we already did. But instead we can just unlock the Cullis Gate right now. It's just a matter of, like, not doing the same section of the game twice. You know? You just run through it right now, then warp back when you're done doing what you need to do in the guild. Oh, got sniped. I did almost get 13. I don't know how that happened. So here I'm going to preemptively remove icons from my bar for my first level up sequence, so that I don't have to deal with dragging them down on the bar, because it can be annoying, it can crash your game even. It's just not worth it. So I take them off beforehand. And I try to interweave that with my menuing as well as possible, so that limits the amount of time I'm not playing the game. Our level ups here are pretty specific. For spells, we just need multi-strike because it's good. Summon because it helps us exploit the game. Physical shield because we're invincible. Assassin rush because it's faster. Multi-arrow because we need it. And magic power because we need it. And we move on to the next quest. Am I running the loader mover? No, I don't even have my splits open. Okay, so this really sucks. We have wasps in this map, and it's kind of important that we have hobs or bandits, because the reason we buy summon is that if the summon creature gets a killing blow on an enemy, it'll transform into that enemy. And we need our wimpy little wasp summon creature. We really need him to transfer into a hob or a bandit, because that model of, or that, you know, that unit is the perfect size for us to use to clip out of bounds. Wasps don't work for that, so there were no bandits or hobs in that first map. That second map that I just passed is way too annoying to try to get a kill on a hob right there. Just too much going on, so I'm going to try to get a killing blow on a bandit down the road here during this quest. We sniped this guy to avoid his cutscene, and that's about it for that map. Multi-strike is good. It's pretty good. We wouldn't be able to really play the game the way we do without it. It's also just a little bit upsetting that this game on the surface has a lot of build variety and stuff, but you can the fastest way to kill pretty much everything in the game is with 3 or 4 select spells. We kill one traitor here because it does something to the sequence here of these traitors healing up. They have to heal up and do their thing at the camp before they'll follow you out, which means you can't complete the quest. So we kill one because it takes half the time for them to heal and get out of the way. Okay, so here's where we're gonna try our best to get a summon transfer on a bandit here. Without dying, hopefully that'd be amazing. Did I just shoot my wasp? Come on, Waspy. You got it. You got it. Make me proud. Make me proud. He did it! What a champion. Alright. Move on. So at that point, I would probably reset the run if I was actually, you know, doing a run. Because you typically want to have, like, hobs, or, like I said, hobs or bandits in that first map. Kind of leave your wasp there to get a kill on its own as you're getting out of that first map. Which didn't happen. Uh-oh, can we get the kill here? We screwed up. Get out of here. The wasp did it. It's astounding how bad the wasp AI is in this game. You saw how the wasp was like actually hitting the bandit? That doesn't happen. I hate that pole. So here we're going to sleep twice to set us back to morning so that the shops are open, because now we're going to do the biggest buy-sell glitch in the game. I'm going to be buying and selling gifts, really expensive gifts, overpriced gifts, so that I can get stuff later on. So we do perfume twice. Now in the top right corner of this menu, watch my gold total as this goes along. And you'll see just how fast you can really ramp up gold in this game. It's kind of absurd. We buy will potions because we need those badly, and we're good. Frankers. Unfortunately, oh, what was that? Wow. So that's an example of like really crummy sideways assassin rushes. Also, yeah, if anybody has a question about this game or this run and is curious, feel free to ask. I know that the bulk of the Fable crew is actually here watching this, which makes me really happy, and they'll be able to answer anything. So watch this. Boom! So this area of the game is for the bandit quest, which we don't have. This area is not supposed to be open, and it's supposed to be full of bandits, but thanks to the model of the bandit and the physics of assassin rushing at very precise angles, we're able to basically assassin rush through terrain and props and textures because we're assassin rushing behind our summoned creature. So we're now in an area of the game that we're not supposed to be in yet, which would normally take a lot more time to go through, but we're doing a little bit early. If you also remember the bandit quest, you remember that you have to have the bandit armor to get through these next gates, and I didn't pick up any of the armor through that chest, and that's because we can just clip through those gates the same way we did the first one. Now we're going to buy some beefy-ass weapons here. Master Longbow and Master Greatsword, because we have money. Again, sliding items off my bar preemptively so that my potions that need to be used, you know, shortly are already there, and I don't have to go to the potion menu and drag them down. It's nonsense. So here's the next clip. This is arguably the hardest one. That one's really finicky with its angle, but you get the muscle memory down, you get the visual cues down, and it's not that bad. So that's the first gate that needs the bandit armor to get through, and then this is the one where the guy's like, you need a pass to get through. Don't need that either. There's our next experience potion. And the last gate, which takes a big old long silly sequence to get you know, through that gate. You just clip through it. Now here's the Twin Blade fight, and thanks to our Master Greatsword this early in the game, and having multi-strike as well, he's pretty cake, especially if you just know how to fight him this way. Where are you swinging? Here, again, this him doing these big vulnerable swings is also based on a timer, and he also has nearly invulnerable health breakpoints like every silly boss in this game, creating the illusion of difficulty just by making things take a long time, even though it's really not that hard. And that's the Bandit Cirrus. All the clips, if I can get the barrier clip, which I failed in the latest world record run.
Votre nouveau rang est reconnu. Cette victoire était très impressionnante, héros. Rentrez vite à la guilde. Mas vous y attend avec des informations.
Frankers. So this split is mostly just movement, but it also involves a pretty cool summon clip. One that was pretty recent, I think, actually, as far as, you know, when these were all developed. This is the quest where you have to spell hits, and where pretty much every kid who played this spelled shit on the stones. To open the demon door, but you can actually just clip through the demon door as well. Sweet. That was a nice assassin rush. And again, this is going to be mostly movement right here to do a similar thing that we did after Orchard Farm, which is just get to a map right now, since we're already like halfway there from the latest, or from the closest checkpoint, so that we don't have to do it again. And that is Knothole Glade that we're heading towards. The good old Grandpa Balverine split. Oh yeah, Sith, you're right. Now, this enemy that's on the map that you hear right behind me is, I don't really know the proper name for it, but it's really annoying because she can, if you look at the red dot in the upper right, yeah, she's just on my ass right now. She can fly pretty much across the entire map in a blink of an eye and make you assassin rush backwards, even when you think you're totally clear.
Voici Knothole Glade. Le village est attaqué par des balverines. Ses portes sont donc fermées pour l'instant.
A nymph.
Revenez à la guilde pour prendre une quête.
Alright. This quest has a lot of little nuances to it. Essentially what it is, though, is a few phases of the Balverine needing to take a certain number of hits before he kind of goes to the next phase, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. And it's pretty much just like a big old scripted event. He moves around the camp, doing his thing, and you just gotta push him past these breakpoints to continue the... God, I love these Balverines. I just love them. What? There we go. So he takes 10 hits for these first couple phases, and then he usually comes over to his little spot and howls and runs away, but you can actually cancel his howl animation by shooting him, which saves probably a second and a half every time you do that. Same deal. Now we get our silver augment, which we're gonna slap right on our bow. Silver augments do a lot of damage to Balverines and undead as well, I think. Hello, please. And now we can actually go kill him. We've weakened him enough that he can be killed now. Now, here's another Orchard Farm scenario as well. We need a lot of XP here to make the arena, feasible. So our goal here is 22 combat multiplier, and our goal is also not to miss the Balverine here. That'd be great. Cool. And the way we're going to do that is just by pooping on the Balverine, honestly. 3 fully charged shots is all it takes to get the Balverine down, especially with the Master Longbow and the Silver Augmentation. It becomes pretty much a cakewalk. And since we do so much damage with said bow and augment combo, that we get 22 multiplier quite quickly, actually. And then we can warp out. So for reference, I just got 44,000 will experience just from those potions being popped. And now we're going to go level up one more time and then do the arena.
Votre nouveau rang est familier.
Main spells we need are Inflame, another multi-strike rank, Force Push, another physical shield rank, Berserk 2, and some extra magic power, because it never hurt anybody. And then we're also going to be putting multiple copies of the summon spell on our bar, for a reason that I will explain. So, oh, one sec. Alright. So in this game, this is basically how the entirety of the arena is going to work. You can force push on dead bodies to gain combat multiplier. Okay, that's the first thing you need to know. Second thing you need to know is that recasting summon after a creature is already out and active costs next to no willpower on its own. It's basically a free cast, but not really. And also, it gives experience. It gives will experience from recasting the summon creature, even though you're really not doing anything except like just recasting it. So combine that with building free multiplier on dead corpses, and you get a lot of will experience.
Bienvenue au hall des...
Now here we're going to buy a lot of augments, which make our weapons super beefy.
Je crois que nous pouvons faire un effort pour vous, monsieur. Vous avez tué la... Bonjour.
So I believe right now our Master Greatsword with those 3 augments on it does more damage than the endgame sword, the Sword of Aeons, I think. Someone will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the fully augmented Master Greatsword does more damage than the sword you get from killing Jack of Blades. Which is just hilarious. I'm also going to push this guy over this way a little bit if I can, without wasting too much time. This is the guy I need to talk to get in the gate, and you can just kind of push him over here so that he's closer to where you spawn after this cutscene, so that you don't have to walk all the way up to that gate to talk to him. You can kind of just talk to him when he's right here. Unless he runs away. Got him. Alright, so here's where the game might get a little bit loud, and if it does, I apologize. Feel free to lower your volume. But we're basically just going through that same process that I just explained with the force pushing. The summoning will come in until a little bit later. Right now we're mostly just focusing on building up combat multiplier as high as we can. There are demon doors and like challenges in this game to get, what, like 16 combat multiplier, and we've already got 30. So it's pretty broken. Yeah, how are you doing, Frankers? Been a while. Every phase of these enemies has a little bit of a different strategy to them, and a little bit of a different optimal way to kill them quickly. For these hobs, the spellcaster hobs die in 1 cast of Inflame. The little soldier hobs take 2, so you can kind of strategize your Inflames to maximize your damage. talking out of my ass. Now, one thing to note here is that this may just seem like happy fun time, you know, kill everything as fast as you can, which it kind of is in some sense. It is the most fun part of the game. But it's also really, really risky because if I get hit and I lose my combat multiplier, it can really detriment the rest of the run because I won't have maxed out everything I want to max out, potentially. Now here comes Whisper, just here to make everything fun. She's the worst thing to ever happen. She does absolutely nothing to benefit anybody's well-being. She's just abysmal. Now, force pushing also cancels death animations, as you may have noticed with the wasps, and it's also very effective here with the Balverines because they have a really slow, like, howl animation they do when they die. But you can cut that quite a bit shorter. This is a really good Balverine phase so far. That was not bad. Balverines is usually really tricky. Now, since Whisper's also out, we can talk to her to cancel the 500 gold guy, which just takes time. But for some reason, talking to Whisper cancels it, which is nice. It's a nice thing to have. Now here's where we're going to start using the summon spell. Just because there's spare time where we can't force push corpses because these things don't leave corpses to force push. So we can fill in that empty space with some of the summon casting. And it's not like, as you'll see, it's not one or two little casts of summon. You spam it pretty viciously. These undead are also quite dangerous because they hit way harder than you would anticipate. And if you get a little bit unlucky with how high your mana is at a given moment, and one of the big ones happens to clip you the wrong way, you could lose your combat multiplier pretty easily. Something also important to note that I don't think I mentioned, because it's just spaced. This is pretty bad luck with positioning. They're just getting hit with the spiral blades. Is that getting hit with physical shield on drains willpower, but it does not drop my combat multiplier, so I'm essentially invincible as long as I have will potions, and that's a huge factor with this game. That's why keeping a constant supply of the will potions is really important. Bandits are also debatably the most dangerous wave because they can snipe you pretty easily. You pretty much always want to have a capped out mana pool for these guys. And again, each of these has their own little health pool. In this wave, the big bandits die in one multi-strike, the small ones just die in a single strike. It's just little things like that you memorize so that you can get a more efficient arena. In my opinion, the arena is maybe the most key difference between like, you know, times of runners in this game. If your arena's bad, it's massive. Again, all these littler minions die in one hit. Playing pretty sloppy right now. So 107 combat multipliers, pretty dank. So now it's mostly just going to be spamming and taking care of the weaker enemies towards the end of the arena. I mean, technically the stronger enemies, but not with Berserk and multi-strike strats. So as you can see the number on the top left of my will experience going up, I'm getting, what is it, technically like 300, over 300 XP every time I cast summon, and I'm casting them in like groups of 3 on my number pad, so it's a lot of experience. There's also a little tactic here to bug out the AI of the rock trolls, so that you can keep them from doing ground pound by assassin rushing them. Also gonna like, nope, he doesn't want to play baseball right now. That's fine. Oh, got him barely. Now here's a Rakanox. There's kind of a tricky pattern to getting this guy to quick dive and getting like the best fight possible. It's not... Okay, so there he goes. So he kind of like bugs out and quick dives. It's a matter of... I don't exactly know what does it, but all I know is it has to do with how much damage he takes. And when you get hit in Berserk, it actually affects how much damage you do. So depending on whether or not his claw swings around and hits you, actually determines the pattern of hits that you do to a Rakanox to get him to quick dive. And most of the time, it's pretty consistent, as you can see, which is good. Because he can do some pretty awful stuff that just wastes chunks of like 10 seconds. And at this point, we're pretty much guaranteed a good fight. Again, another example of the health breakpoint system that bosses have, which is really just kind of silly and not great boss design, in my opinion. A lot of games use similar systems. And now the best part of the run, we just get to kind of wail on Whisper a little bit. That's about it. And as much as everybody would like to kill Whisper, it's really, really slow. So I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Is the timer paused? That'd be great. No idea. We can always time it afterwards too if it ends up being like really good. My beginning was really, really bad with not getting a summon transfer. If anything, I'd say we're probably like 10 to 15 seconds behind still. I'm not worried about it.
Apologies, my live split crashed.
Oh, you're fine, man.
Yeah, that was not my fault. I didn't hit a button. I just had to reload the whole thing.
It's fine. Again, I don't think this is super close to world record or anything at this point.
Well, I mean, now it is, because you're only at like 2 seconds.
Right. So at this point, we got so much experience that we can max out everything we need. So we pretty much are set for the rest of the game, with the exception of like one spell, which actually has a alignment requirement, and we're just not evil enough to actually have it at this point because we didn't kill Whisper. But we will be. So fast the timer died? Yeah, maybe. Alright, so I guess this is sort of what I guess most people would consider like the second half of the game. The arena is a big turning point. The game starts to get like really a lot darker now, in my opinion. Story-wise, a little more serious. And we're also buying the best weapon in the game right now, which is the Soulless Greatsword. Yeah, I'm rich. I'm the strongest person in Albion now. And unfortunately, a good chunk of this game now, till the end, is trying to move as fast as you can possibly move. There's some cool clips, there's some difficult fights, but a lot of it is going to be manipulating enemy placement and trying to maximize movement efficiency. Cool, we got barrier skip. That's a clip that was discovered on accident by... Is he considered a legacy runner now? Giant Steps 92, who I watched his runs to get into this game. Unfortunately, he's so busy now, and you know, life happened. But we were doing a race one time, and he walks up to that barrier, and he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. And he, first try, just clips through that barrier and skips the whole segment where you run up to the house and kill the summoner who's creating the barrier. We lost our shit a little bit. Slow time also manipulates this part where we would normally have to kill like all the enemies on this barge area, but slow time just kind of manipulates their placement to where the quest doesn't register as them as being necessary to kill because they're not close enough. I kind of explained that out of my butt, but it works. If they get too close to the dock, you end up having to kill them. So it makes sense. That's the explanation. I'm also force pushing enemies when they get behind me because, like I said, if enemies are close to me, the soft target range of enemies extends behind me. So it's just prevents backwards assassin rushing. Movement is a massive part of this game. Now here comes the graveyard segment where we gather Nostro's garments and summon his dead body to grant us passage through the land of the dead or something. In reality, you can clip through the demon door that he opens up. It's just a whole big process to open up a demon door. You can clip through the demon door like you can most other demon doors. But unfortunately, this is an example of the game being very rigidly built against speedrunning and sequence breaking. Because a lot of quests in this game, this one primarily is a good example, they can't progress. Also, fishing round 2 here. I got like the worst RNG. It took forever for the fish to grab on, and I got like the weakest line. As you can see, it gets red after like 2 missed clicks. So if you get a little bit impatient, you're gonna snap your line, and this is all just wasted time. What was I saying? Oh, a lot of quests you just can't complete or move on to the next stage of unless a very specific list of triggers are met. For example, this cutscene right here of giving Nostro his shit back is a very key trigger to this quest completing. If you don't get that, if you don't activate that cutscene, you can't complete the quest. There's about 4 of those or something in this quest line, so you really can't skip any part of this quest. You have to do it all. This is also, I've dubbed the swag clip. Oh, please, no! I'm gonna fail it. I'm gonna get it. At this point, it's not really saving time. Come on, baby. Failed swag clip. Let's go. There we go. Normally you get that first try for it to be effective. But instead of walking around that bridge, you do a really quick sort of kick turn clip through the terrain, and that spot underneath the bridge there in particular does not have like physics on it like certain out of bounds areas do, so you can just roll up the hill as fast as your character can move. Probably saves 4 seconds. That was really good graveyard RNG. Those undead can kind of just walk whichever way they want. And now we go into the most tedious part of the game, which is the prison segment. For some reason, well, I know the reason. Also, say hi to the Kraken, everybody. Hi, Kraken. Bye, Kraken. We have to go in here and save our mom, and she's imprisoned by Jack of Blades. And in order to save our mom, we have to get imprisoned by Jack of Blades, and we have to spend 2 years or something along those lines. I don't know exactly how long it is. I think it's just 2 years. In the prison, getting old and growing a nasty beard. I'll also try to get this clip, because why not? It's a marathon. Oh, first try. I've actually probably saved time with that right there. Another fancy-pantsy out-of-bounds clip. It is a cool beard. Doesn't mean it's not, like, unkempt and soggy. So this split is a lot of waiting and doing nothing, and it's coming up pretty quick, actually, where we spend a lot of time waiting and doing nothing. So it's a good moment for me to answer any questions you guys have, or for you guys to just chill out and spend a moment of your day being thoughtful or something like that. Sure, what's up?
How does it feel to know that you've got a guaranteed world recce right now?
Oh yeah,
We're
Gary.
only 8 minutes into the run.
8 minutes?
Yeah.
No way.
Almost 9.
Feels feels fake. No, it feels great. So here's the. I'm gonna try to get as far away from these NPCs as possible because they talk in French this whole time, and this is actually why we run the game in French, is right here. As you can see, we have like text disabled, so it's not a matter of the text being faster, like is why a lot of games are played in Japanese. It's for this part alone is the only dialogue that you have to listen to, and it's actually spoken fastest in French, so it saves 30 seconds. So that's why we play the whole thing in French. I do not know the whole poem by heart. I only hear like 2 lines of it. Can you clip out of the prison? This is a tricky question because you can get out of the sequence, but you can't continue because the sequence that you skip is like a trigger, like I was mentioning. The cutscene where you get caught by Jack, you can actually, it's triggered by just an area on the ground, and you can clip out of the wall and go around that and get all the way back out to the exit without getting caught by Jack of Blades, but you can't leave. It'd be like reloading the quest area. You have to go through this entire thing for the quest to be progressible. Behold the bowl. Around this time, actually, in my run, I usually say thanks to everybody for watching, and I splurge, and I'm like, hey, I do this for you guys, and I stream for the fun of it, and you guys watching, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, thanks everybody for watching this marathon and chilling out. Hope you're all having a good evening or day, early morning for me. Yeah. And thanks for having me. Is there a $100 bounty on that? Am I expected to contribute to that? So this is just foot racing. It's as simple as it gets. You got a foot race, and we're the best foot racer in the world. We have no spinal cord. That's why we can do this, actually, in case you wanted to know how this is possible. I do not have a spine nor a collarbone. The reason we do this is so that we can get special treatment from the warden. And he reads us a beautiful poem in French, and we steal his key. Except, we cannot get the key the first year. It is impossible to pick up the key the first time doing this. The game insists that I do this whole thing twice. So we get tortured a bit. Wait, how do you have access to stable Fable right now?
Nous allons nous occuper de vous. Vous êtes un peu moins nombreux cette année. Je me demande ce qui leur est arrivé.
Vous êtes vivant. Une nouvelle année, une nouvelle course. Nous devons entrer dans le bureau du directeur. Il nous faut cette clé.
Hashtag beard facts. Beard facts. Like in what respect? Hashtag beard facts. Most women don't like beards. Amazing. I never would have guessed that the moment I shaved my face that I immediately started getting probably about 200 times the attention that I was getting before. There's your beard fact. Rolling around at the speed of sound. We're actually, if this game got accepted into a GDQ, we were thinking about making like going into the game files and coming up with custom tattoos, because you can make your own tattoos in the PC version of this, and then you put them in a certain spot in the game files, and then you can go to a tattoo artist and he'll tattoo the thing you made in Microsoft Paint or whatever on your body. So we were gonna make like a Sonic tattoo set. But alas, just a dream. Gris est la couleur la plus jolie. Hey, what do you know? The key.
Le directeur a perdu sa clé.
And all of our year's worth of knowledge was contained in a brown sack in a dank prison storeroom. So now we're back to full capacity, except we really have no reason to equip armor the rest of the run, so enjoy giant hulking red naked man. Again, just movement, manipulating these people so that you can get out the fastest you can. It ends up being sort of like muscle memory, and they do spawn in the same spots every time. It's not like other maps. Actually, well, I don't know. For the most part, there's no other friendly NPCs to distract these guys and move them out of position, so they're in the same position every time you run through here. Which is convenient. I'm gonna give you guys an ear warning. This fight with the Kraken gets pretty loud. So just... I'd suggest notching down your volume knob just a hair. Especially all you people who have the stream muted. Turns up, yeah. I bet Kraken could give us a beard fact. Look at that one. It's not bad. Simple as pie. Is that the saying, right? Simple as pie.
Would you say it's as simple as going to twitch.tv/I-ate-your-pie/subscribe?
I think I would say that.
Votre sceau de la guilde a été réactivé.
So we're free, we're out of prison, and it's time to go enact some revenge on old Jack. The Pumpkin King. Oh, we got the... Wow, that was cool. That's really hard to get, that assassin rush underneath the troll's feet. I think it has to be at a certain stage in its dying animation, all the way back from the Trader Escort quest. That's the same like model of the troll still dying. So it has to be, you have to like kill him fast enough and get out of that map quick enough that you can still fit under its legs by the time you come back all these years later. It's quite poetic, actually. No, it definitely happened before. It's just really, really rare. And normally because I actually screwed up my troll fight, and so that's why I left that map earlier than I did before. So it was totally understandable how it happened, but it's just uncommon to see. So this is just the whole process of discovering what? Old Man Maze has been behind it all along. Make what you will of that dialogue. Palpatine's behind it all. And now, one of the hardest fights in the game coming up here is we fight Maze. And Maze operates on health breakpoints as well, but instead of just becoming invulnerable, he actually teleports long distances. So managing these breakpoints is much more of a risk now compared to other fights. We can actually, if I do the fight correctly, I can manipulate him in his health breakpoints to the point where he actually skips the longest length of travel that he does in his entire sequence, which is teleporting up to the lighthouse. I push him past breakpoint to where he goes to like his lighthouse breakpoint, but then instantly leaves the lighthouse because he's past that health amount. So I have to surpass one of those breakpoints very carefully. And it used to be one of the biggest annoyances and reset points of the entire game for me. It still is for a lot of people. It's a really crummy fight. I think we're good. So if he just happens to randomly not take as much damage as he should, he won't skip that phase like he just did there. So this was a good maze fight. Pause the run? Sure thing. That's totally gonna happen. So maze is dead. Ding dong, the maze is dead. And now we take the fight to Jack. I'm pretty hazy on how this actually plays out story-wise. The line between like Maze was behind it all, and oh, now we're fighting Jack. It kind of just it just goes. This entire split is just movement. You don't even have to like shoot Jack of Blades. You just get close to him and he runs away, which is a little weird. It's all just kind of a mess. In this case, the enemies absolutely do spawn in random spots. There's no rhyme or reason to any of this. Sometimes you'll go through a whole one of these maps, and they won't even spawn. Sometimes it just bugs out. This is sort of a... If Fable had its own blinkless from Mario 64, this would be it. If you can get to this last load screen without your Berserk wearing off. But you have to have really good RNG and good movement. It's going to wear off like right now. Yeah. It is possible though. Bridges also suck. Collision-wise. Adam with the story lowdown. I love it. Yeah, as fast as I am at this game, I probably know the least actually about it. That's the ultra thrilling Chase Jack split. And now we actually get to some juicy fights. I actually really like this fight. It's nostalgic. If you've played this game, you know the Jack fight. It's the Grand Nacho Supreme. That was really good RNG there. Oh, I thought I got pushed under again. Wow. Okay, so we're taking the evil option here, A, because it's faster, and B, because we need the evil points. Because debatably the best spell in the game, Berserk, its maximum rank requires you to be a certain amount of evil to buy. And we're certainly evil now. We just swatted our sister with the Sword of Aeons. Say that 5 times fast. So we max out Berserk. We are good to go. You could interact with that demon door and go through the dialogue, but it's a little bit quicker to clip. It's kind of a tricky clip, but it's a little swaggy. Never hurt nobody. This is basically just puzzles. You make the same color all over the place. Whether or not you do suns or moons determines whether these guys live or die and affects your alignment, which is of such little consequence to us, I can't even begin to describe it. What matters to us is the quickest path to just coming up with a solution, and then ultimate fine-tuning that was done recently is eliminating the number of 180-degree turns that you make, because that's the slowest turn. And through just that optimization alone, we managed to trim like almost 2 seconds down from the previous strats, just from tweaking it so that we don't do 180-degree turns as much. There's not much to say about it, speedrun-wise. The solutions are what they are. Out of puzzle? Slaughtered. Actually said swatted, so I'm sorry. Invalid. Now this is actually a really execution-heavy section here to get this trick. Basically, if I move fast enough and I get lucky enough, I'll be able to get to the third of 3 summoners who are casting in this next little map here and kill them before, or kill him before he casts one of his spells. I get to him in the middle of one of his casting cycles. If I'm a little bit late, he starts his cast and I gotta sit there and watch him cast for like 3 seconds. So it's just it's a little bit of a speed test and pretty difficult strat overall. Oh no! Okay, so that can happen. That's the example of getting unlucky. And that's getting especially unlucky, is that the minion quick dies and instantly triggers the cutscene there. That was a slew of strange luck that I haven't gotten in a while. That's 2 quick deaths in a row. What on earth? See, so my cycles got screwed up by a number of things here. Hello? Can I... these minions. Best bodyguards. Basically that didn't go as planned because the first summoner didn't turn to face me, which would delay his cast by a little bit. And he also died. He got that like weird glitchy quick death animation, which screws up the cycle as well. So that didn't work for a number of reasons. This fight is also a really dumb, arbitrary health breakpoint thing. As you can see, I can't damage this guy any further right now. I've got to wait for him to do a certain number of ground pounds, and then for some reason he just becomes vulnerable again. I believe it's right now. Yeah. You can clip through this barrier, but this loading screen right here to this next area doesn't exist until the troll's dead. Very weird decisions that were made when mapping out this game in some spots. Like, I don't know if they made that decision knowing that someone would like speedrun this and get through the barrier somehow, or if not having that load area there makes the game run smoother maybe for that troll fight or something. I'm not sure. So right now this is just movement to the next section of the game. And the next section is actually the biggest RNG section of the game. It's entirely RNG. I tromp through the graveyard. Tromp through the graveyard and look for graves with 3 specific names on them in order to complete the quest. And they could be in any number of random graves scattered across the map. So it's really just hunting and finding where they've spawned. can make a break a run. This late in the run, just completely RNG. It's a little bit frustrating, but hey. Now, something to note also is that a bunch of green dots will appear on this map. They can only, the ones I'm looking for can only be in a green dotted grave of the map, so there is a little bit of assistance it gives you. So that way you don't have to check every one of the, I don't know, probably 100 graves in here. Maybe not 100, I don't know. It wasn't that one, I just wanted to be sure. I've had experiences where I think that I've checked them all and I just ended up missing one and losing a run. So this would be considered bad RNG to the point where I have to go into this little side hole and check these ones. Ultimately, you want to really get the 3 that you need in the first section. That was quite bad RNG. Whoa. George W., I love it, and what's the other one? Hello? George W., I love it. T-Fung, Master Spell Weaver. That's what you look for. So we've got our graves, we're gonna go turn them in. Something happens with big stone heads. This part of the game's a huge blur for me. Story-wise. I've spent so much time skipping all these cutscenes, like I really need to do a casual run-through because... Man, I don't remember squat. Double autosave just for fun, because someone thought that was a good idea. And we're approaching the home stretch here, where we're going to be capturing 3 souls, 3 legendary souls, or something of that nature. The first one we need is an arena champion, and it just kind of so happens that, for the most part, the evil choices are the quickest ways to go. So instead of going and honorably, instead of honorably obtaining the soul of my mother, the arena champion, I can just go slaughter Thunder, which is substantially quicker. And this is where the game really, like, kind of falls and fumbles. Just story structure-wise is like, especially in this later section of the game, the Lost Chapters part, which is what we're in, where it's like, these should be really significant story choices, but really the extent of your decision making, it's really insignificant. It's like, do you want to make the evil choice, or like the easy evil choice, or do you want to make the good choice? And it's really inconsequential, whichever one you pick. Whereas in the earlier sections of the game, I feel like the choices have a lot more tangible weight. So that's the Briar Rose fight. You force push her clones to decide which one's real, and then you do that. Now, the final one we're doing, oh gosh, is the soul of what? You can either kill the Guildmaster, which was the old strat for a long time, or up until recently, we discovered that this is actually faster thanks to a mechanic with the recall system. Now, the way recalling works is if you warp out of an area, you have the option to warp straight back. But say I get to this point right here, and and I warp to the guild, if I recall, I'm not going to warp back right where I'm standing at the end of this bridge. I'm going to warp to the nearest exit that I was at. Or the exit that I was nearest to. So I go to the guild and I trigger the cutscene that I need to continue the quest, and then I warp back to this area, and I'm now across the second half of the map that I would normally have to run through. So I basically save half of the time I would be spending traveling for this section here. So this ends up being quite a lot faster than killing the Guildmaster, which was the old strat. And we have our 3 souls. Now it's time to just go kill Jack 2. So time will be soon. I'll call it out. It's after this final fight, but I'll hit the dragon in the face for a few cycles of him attacking, and then it'll go to a quick cutscene, and then I'll call out when the time happens. Whoa, that was weird. Oh no! Okay. Almost blew that. And time will be... And now. Cool.
Your time is, in theory, 37 minutes and 50 seconds plus 44 minutes and 4 seconds.
Is that the exact time that we were off by? Was 34 something?
That's what chat was saying, was to add 44 minutes and 4 seconds.
Edom, how accurate is that, Edom? I mean, I'll just go back and retime it. That's probably not a record, but actual finish time 1:21:54. Okay, nice. Sub 1:22 is really good.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that's Fable. It's nostalgic. It's quirky. It's got a lot of issues, but a lot of people remember it, and it's a fun run. So, sweet.
All right, so we're gonna go to intermission real quick and try and wrangle up our next runner.